Hello friends, thanks for joining me today on my YouTube channel. This is Cassie. We have a special one. It is a release hop. We're doing not only an Instagram hop, but a YouTube hop, and I'll have more information about that in a second. But let's talk about the products we're using. They're all brand new. This is the Simply Sentimental Hello. I'm in love with it. I've already used it a bunch. And this is the City Lights stencil. It's a layering stencil. That's what you can get out of this. I love that too. This product isn't new, it's the Marshmallow Numbers add-on, so let's jump into it. I have a slimline panel that I have cut down to 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and I've pulled out my stencil. It comes with 3, and we're going to take this piece. This is the one that is going to give you your background of your cityscape, so you can have 2 layers of cityscape if you want, and I'm going to do that. So I've pulled in some pumice stone distress oxide, and we're blending that right on top of our cardstock. You'll notice that I don't have those tiny skinny pieces kind of moving around. That's because I did use pixie spray. That's just seems like an essential when you're using stencils. So I did use pixie spray on this, let that dry a second. And now I'm flipping the stencil around, and I'm going to put my lights on. So this is where I'll bring in some fossilized amber, and it doesn't show up a great deal on that pumice stone, but it is there. This is kind of more the subtle cityscape in the background. So this is going to be your far back skyscrapers and such. And like I said, you could use them separate. You wouldn't have to layer them on top of each other, but it does give this whole second dimension. So now I'll bring in that second stencil. You'll notice these are a little bit shorter. So I'm going to pull in some distress ink, not distress oxide, but distress ink in the color Black Soot, and I'll blend that right on top. And you'll notice when I pull it away just how absolutely super cool it is. This black soot goes so well over the top of that distress oxide that you can hardly tell that there is anything behind it, other than just seeing those skyscrapers and such in the background. So let me pull that away and take a look. You now have 2 layers of all those big city buildings. It's great. So I'm going to clean that up, and then I'll flip it around, and then I'll use that fossilized amber one more time. And this time it's going to go over that second layer of buildings. And I do end up getting a little bit down at the bottom, but I'm going to fix that by trimming that off. Not concerned about it. But yeah, let me pull that away and you'll see. I love that. That's so fun. So now we have those 2 layers. I did have a little bit of a mishap there, so I'm just going to use my mono sand eraser. And then I'm going to bring in that third stencil. Take a look at how many options you have for fireworks, and you could layer those up on top of each other if you wanted to. I decided to keep this fairly simple. So I am just going to bring in some different distress oxide colors because those tend to stand out on top of dark cardstock. This Candied Apple, not so much. I mean, it's there, but it's still kind of dark. But the rest of the colors that I pick stand out beautifully. This next one is some Squeezed Lemonade. And I'm just using my Blender Buddies on top of these. And that Squeezed Lemonade is so pretty. So pretty. Pull that away. Then we're going to bring in some Twisted Citron. And I'm even going over some of the buildings, which is fine because, you know, if you were looking at a cityscape and there were fireworks going off in the middle, they would be in front as well. And in the back, you know, all over the place. So I'm trying to really make this look much more 3D, even though it's 1 layer. Then we're going to bring in some salvaged patina. And then our final color that we're going to bring in is some wilted violet. And I had started off cleaning off my stencil in between, but here I didn't. I changed my mind. And of course I have to add splatter. We need some night sky. So I'm going to bring in some silver splatter. Going to try to focus that mostly to the upper part of the sky. If it gets on the top of the buildings, I'm not that worried about it, but I'm trying to focus mostly on that upper portion. Splattering that all over, and take a look. You can see those beautiful fireworks and that night sky. It's great. I went ahead and die cut out 3 2s and a 0 out of that Marshmallow Numbers add-on, and I did use one of the dies from the Simply Sentimental Hello die. And now I'm just kind of figuring out exactly where I want to place each of my pieces. And once I figure that out, we'll pull out some liquid glue and we'll start adhering those pieces down. Hard to believe it's 2022, just around the corner here. I say this every year, as I'm sure we all do. Where did the year go, right? Just another reminder to savor all the moments. Savor all the moments. Absolutely. All right, so once we've got all the 2022 down, I'll take that liquid glue and use that over the hello. I love that stamp set along with our matching die. It's just fabulous. So I didn't stamp anything on here now that I'm looking at this, but it's super fun. Super fun. So now I'm going to trim this down just a tiny, tiny bit. I mean, we're talking barely. Just a little bit off of the bottom and a little bit off of one of the sides. And then I need to pull in my card base, which measures 7 inches by 8.5 inches. So I'm going to score this at 3.5 inches. And then we'll just use that Teflon folder, that ergonomic folder, to make sure that we have that nice and folded over. Then we can go ahead and glue down our panel to our card base using that same liquid glue that I have been using. And there you'll see that it's just a very, very slim white border, but I like it. It's enough. And then I decide, of course, I have to do something on the inside. So I'm just going to use what's left over on my Blender Buddies and blend through our stencil over a few of those fireworks. And then this way, we've got something on the inside, and there's plenty of room to write to our recipient, but that ties that outside to the inside very, very nicely. And then our last little firework. Love it. So there you have it, folks. Like I said, this is a part of a hop, so I'm going to have the next person linked down below in my description box along with all the details. So you're going to want to go check all the fun stuff out. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.